Where did you go on your last family vacation? Visiting relatives out of town? On a cruise? What about Guatemala? Join the Cañon Current as we sit down and talk to the Smith family. They'll tell us a little bit about their experiences in Guatemala and how it changed their lives for the better.
And I always wanted to take my teenagers to third world country. I thought it would be really good life lessons for American teenagers to know what life is like for most of the world.
I do dentistry, and Ashley, she helped to assist and do the sterilization and those kinds of things, as well as Hannah.
Oh, gotcha.
Jay mostly did sterilization and cleaning,
Uh-huh.
but he has done some assisting for me. The clinic was really cool because there was a joint project. It was actually in an orphanage owned by the Catholic Church, where it was, but yet there were LDS missionaries working in that clinic. And so we did a lot of dentistry for them, and they were mostly between the age of between 2 and 16.
We made necklaces or did educational games with them.
And the boys enjoyed doing our nails. They liked that.
And they did our hair. And we've checked for lice.
Yep, we're good.
So far, we're good.
We're good.
When I was working with the Smiths, they explained to me that while it was wonderful working with the people in Guatemala, it was also hard seeing the hardships people had to face and worrying about their own family's safety.
We were in a really safe part of town by a lot of embassies. And then so we got but then as we drove into scarier and more, deep city that was really poor. And they had some orphans who had parents, but their parents couldn't afford to take care of them. And so it was a place where they could go and get an education and some food to eat. And if they were lucky, they could go home on the holidays to see their families. And there were the street kids school that we saw, were kids who would just be running around the streets if they didn't have the school to take care of them. And then there was the garbage dump school, which was for families that literally lived in the garbage dump. And they would just search for like aluminum or tin or things that they could sell. And so this man had started a school for those kids to give them an education, and they got to go to dental work for them too.
But it was amazing how sweet and nice they were. They were very appreciative and very warm. The girls would always greet with a hug and a kiss to each other. And if they didn't know you or anything, they'd come up and give Ashley a hug and a kiss. And so they were just really super warm and super friendly and super happy. So even though they didn't have a lot of wealth materially, they were very, very happy and very content and very appreciative of everything they had. So it was pretty amazing to see how happy they were.
They said if they got a little bit of money, they would spend it on batteries so they could listen to music.
Love their music.
They love music, huh?
Yeah.
We went to dinner and to a kind of an authentic Guatemalan restaurant. And so their national instrument is the marimba. And so they would actually have 4 players on each marimba. So there were 8 people playing the marimba, and they had traditional dance and traditional music down there.
Music wasn't the only piece of culture that the Smiths experienced. The family told me that they got to learn about everything from Mayan ruins to local customs.
So we got to see quite a few, 2 different ruins, Viejo, Mexico Viejo, and Iximiche. And those were pretty cool ruins we got to see down there.
Yeah.
Both those sites were supposed to be about 800 years old. And so it was pretty amazing. We got to see learn about a lot of their culture, the Mayan culture that was there. And so that was pretty amazing.
Tell them about the place where you're supposed to feel the power.
Oh, okay. So our guide was a native there, and he was really in tune to the ruins. So anyway, so we get there, and it really brought the history alive because, you learn about it as a kid, like all the Mayan ruins. So there are these 2 special ruins set up, and it was this story of 2 hero twins. And so the guide had Jay go on one and me go on the other one, and to sit in the middle and just meditate. And it was super funny. But
because you're supposed to feel the power surge through you.
Yes.
It was on top of.
I felt the power.
It was funny.
But it was really cool.
It actually was kind of cool.
It was cool, and just like to stand on top of it and just look out all over the mountains and like just the amazing rainforest scenery. So it was really cool.
But the teenagers all had, even though they lived in these little tiny huts with tin roofs, they had cell phones,
Everybody had a cell phone.
and
It
they
was so
really
odd.
wanted to be friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
So somehow they had access to Facebook,
Yeah.
and they thought Jameson is really tall.
Oh yeah, everybody thought I was tall.
Yeah, so it's really interesting because a lot of the time we were the first gringos that they had seen, white people. And so we got used to being laughed at a lot, you know, pointed at, stared at, but I think if it was the first time that I had ever seen a white person, I would probably laugh too, so totally.
The family joked that perhaps it wasn't just the skin color that caused Guatemalans to laugh. Maybe it was Hannah Smith's friendly innocence.
And so we were in the middle of nowhere, and our car was breaking down. And Hannah was in the front seat going, "Hi, hello." And we were in the back going, "We could get robbed or kidnapped right now."
And I was very naive and just like, oh, hello, because there are all these little kids walking around. And I was just like, oh, hi. And they were like staring, and I was like, okay, no.
The Smiths also talked about how Guatemala was strangely Americanized.
The motorcycle people would be delivering pizza everywhere.
And they would deliver McDonald's
They would deliver.
on motorcycles.
Kind of like you see in the movies where like the motorcycles like weave in and out of the cars. That type of thing.
Yeah, some motorcycles would have a family of 7 on one motorcycle.
Yeah, so you just pack as many people on there.
They would tie buckets on the side and put the kids in the buckets.
According to the Smiths, their visit to Guatemala wasn't simply a mission trip or a vacation. It was a life-changing experience.
I would say be grateful for the jobs you have. Fast food isn't the best, but it's still a job that's more than $2 a day. Personally, I stress a lot more on an average high school day, like what do my peers think of me? Am I doing this right? Than the average Guatemalan who was only making like $2 a day and trying to live off that. Like I felt like I stressed more about high school life than they did there. And so just to be appreciative of like this is life that we live and just so grateful for everything that we have.
Like they'd have to walk 3 miles just to get their water, which probably wasn't even clean at all.
When we were touring through one of the villages, we saw these kids who were hunched over with their firewood on their back, and they were walking for quite a long time.
And we kind of went down thinking that we were going to serve and help them, but they ended up just making us feel good and just loving us, and I think we got more from them than we gave to them.
We knew we were gonna do something around these lines, but I wasn't really quite sure what. So I just asked for a broad thing of school supplies. And my birthday's in the summer, so that's when everything's super cheap and easy. So instead of asking for presents, I asked for school supply donations to take with us. And it was quite handy when we actually got down there and all the orphans just loved.
That was their favorite thing, was to get
The notebooks
and
and pencils.
And it took a while to prepare because we earned the money ourselves. Like the kids, they did garage sales, they did paint jobs, they did just made things to sell, and so the money they earned their own trip. I was already planning my next trip on the plane ride home, but we'll see when.
Probably a year or 2.
This is the Smith family, and you're watching the Cañon Current.
Say bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, good job.